The title of this podcast is James Bond's Skyfall movie Stuntman Dies. And I want to show you the connection with Curiosity Rover and the fact that it's saying its first happy birthday in the 2012 Olympics. I did a blog post back in 2012 after the Olympics on the Skyfall movie and its connection to the Aurora massacre. And I have a link at the bottom of the blog post, which I'll post in the description. But before I get started, I want to read to you a quote or something that I stuck out from me in this book that I'm scanning because I don't really read anymore. It's called Toxic Sludge is Good for You. It's a whole book on the public relations industry. It says PR has become a communications medium in its own right, an industry designed to alter perception, reshape reality, and manufacture consent. It is run by a fraternity, carefully organized so that only insiders can observe their peers at work. And so this is what we do when we decode the matrix. This is what I'm trying to do, is so that we are able to peer inside this network, this group that communicates on another level amongst each other. And they have certain codes. They use symbols, sigils, numbers, occultations, celestial occultations, astrology, and all other kinds of means. And so what we're doing here is connecting the dots. It's a multi-contextual platform, let's say. And it's a very interesting time that we live in. One of the things you have to remember is that, and this is not a bad thing, it's just, we're just discussing the deeper truths of what's going on. When I share with you, I'm sharing from a place of love and reverence for the situation in which we find ourselves in. We live on a war planet. It is a planet based on war. And, that's just the reality. And so when we know that, how do we learn to live within the confines of a system which is really the antithesis of who and what we are, right? How do we learn to maneuver, relearn skills and tools that will support us through this very intense period that we are in, and it is simply intensifying. And so when we talk about the deeper truths, it's very important because it is the truth that we are not able to come to comprehend at a very deep level, which is the reason why we are in the situation that we are in. And what causes one to deviate from the path of truth is the immersion or identification with the five sense personality and the mind-body construct, the thought and the thought process. That keeps us, this is what keeps us from the truth. And so you are unique awareness. You are separate from the mind-body construct. You are separate from the five sense personality aspect. And you must come to know this. Truth often clashes with what evolution has programmed in us. With survival on the top of the list. For self-preservation, protection, we gradually sacrifice truth. So much so, it's almost second nature. Something we just do. Truth is often not even in the equation when decisions are made. We may know the term and have a rough idea as to what it means, but for many it's like air. It's just sort of there. We breathe it in constantly, yet unconsciously. If we stop breathing, what happens? We die. Some things we just take for granted. And so I think that's really important because it is truly the reason why we are in the predicament that we are in, is that we are sleepwalking through this reality, this story, this construct that's playing out on the physical world stage. And yet there is a system. There is a system of divine intervention in place ready to assist us through this difficult transition phase we are going through, from being a temporal being to an intertemporal being. We call it coincidences or synchronicity. Synchronistic coincidences are in fact road signs or a GPS signal. Now each individual has their own GPS signal. It's the intuition, it's the intuitive self, it's the higher senses. And now more than ever, we have the capacity to tap into those higher senses, to be able to use our GPS, our guidance system, and help us to navigate this physical world that we are immersed in. And so the fact that most of humanity is not willing or capable of seeing through the deception or what play on the world is what is destroying its ability to collectively change, individually and collectively change the course of events transpiring on the physical world, because we can change this fairly quickly. We can change what's going on in the physical world stage. But again, this physical world system is designed to keep us from ever coming to that gnosis, to that knowledge. If we dare to reconcile that as beings, we are in fact living an unnatural state of existence, and that unless we seek equilibrium in our natural state as unique awareness, there is going to be devastating consequences. I mean, I think we all can come to some resolution here. It's in our face on a daily basis. Now, this is not a bad thing. You already know this. I'm just stating the obvious. And so what I say should not cause you to contract, contort, or numb out, or keep you in utter fear and paralysis, as these are conditions that plague those who choose to sleepwalk through life. It is part of the human predicament, and as a consequence, results in the fear of not knowing, or even wanting to know and to look at the truth. And sadly enough, this is the antithesis of who and what you are as unique awareness. You are all-knowing and wise. And so while the truth may be heard and cause major suffering for many, or the lack of truth is what is causing the suffering for many, certainly in the long run, when we seek truth and gnosis and inner gnosis, it will literally set us free. I scan the news. I don't read the news. I scan the news and I look for specific things. It's like a code. It's like there's specific things that I look for now. It's like a puzzle. And so I don't have to read the news. I know exactly what to look for, and I just follow the thread. And then I share what I'm learning. And so I'm probably going to have a gathering, a call, and it's going to be titled Decoding the Matrix. And I'll give some hints as to what I do, how I go about decoding the matrix, and maybe provide an opportunity for people to ask questions. So if that's something you'd be interested in, leave a comment in the, it wouldn't be cost anything. It would be just you calling into a conference call number, and the opportunity for us to dialogue openly. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. I'll probably be doing that next month. So as events unfold daily in the news, we see and feel that the pressure on the physical world stage keeps rising with intensity, like water in a dam. Now, if we use history or his story, someone else's story, for that matter, as a metaphor, until it finally collapses, the story or his history, for that matter, i.e., for example, the Great Flood, the end of the world, then we see that the bigger picture and the script or history or his story broken up, the power control forces story, that is playing out on the physical world stage, it will no longer become a part of our individual and collective reality. That's what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm trying to pierce the veil of the illusion of the story that's playing out. You know, every single country is, you have to look at it as a stage prop. All the history that's played out on the physical world stage that we know of are props in the storylines. There's storylines in the script that is playing out, which is so neat in order to keep this reality intact. I mean, look at all the monuments, all these very astounding monuments that are on grid lines, like Stonehenge, you know, the World Trade Towers, you know, the Vatican, these cathedrals or buildings are living entities. They're on these grid lines. They were purposefully put in these spots. So that kind of should give you an indication that nothing is happenstance in this physical world. Everything has been laid out divinely by those who run this world in order to maintain a certain level of power and control over the course of events on the physical world stage. So you have to look at every country. It's designed and planned out. Every city has been designed and planned out for the purposes of facilitating the rollout of this last days Armageddon Judgment Day scenario that's playing out. And in my next audio, I'm going to talk a little bit more about decoding the book of Revelations, because it's such profound information. I mean, if you decode the Revelations, the book of Revelations, and understand what's going on a much higher level, in the next few years, we're experiencing some of the intensification, but it's going to get really nasty out there. It's just incredible what's playing out on the physical world stage. And so it's not to scare you, it's just to prepare you to know that we are living this in someone else's dream. You know, really. Now, if we dare, and I mean really dare to look at the deeper truth, then we can understand that it no longer becomes a part of our individual and collective reality, because the story that is unfolding, unbeknownst to most of humanity, is seeking to destroy the essence of who we are as unique awareness. We can see that on some level. Truly. Now, if we dare, I mean really dare to look at the deeper truth as water from the future pushing against the wall of the present, either we will have to start opening the gate of the future in a big way, or it will surely destroy us and the whole world. This is the fate of anyone who cannot face the truth in time. Yes, in time. Time meaning time and space. So, as we connect the dots here, I want to begin with the Rover Curiosity had its first birthday on August the 5th. I think I might have mentioned this in my last video. On the anniversary of the death of Marilyn Monroe, who was famous for singing Happy Birthday rendition to JFK. This year marks the 50th anniversary of JFK. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because Curiosity Rover, I mentioned in my blog post a year ago, is kind of like the same as when similar scenario when the Queen and James Bond jumped out of the helicopter at the 2012 Olympics. If you remember, during the 2012 Olympics, James Bond double fell into Olympic Stadium along with the double for Queen Elizabeth, as both jumped from the small plane. It turns out that both jumpers were in danger, as such stunts are not easy tasks, and now the James Bond double is dead. His name is Mark Sutton, and I looked up the word Sutton, and Sutton, the word Sutton means south, another reference to the pole shift which I thought was quite interesting. He's a 42-year-old man, Stuntman, who parachuted into the opening ceremony on 2012 Olympics dressed as James Bond alongside a double of Queen Elizabeth II. He was killed on August the 15th in a wing diving accident in the Swiss Alps. Sutton, a former Royal Rifles officer for the British Army, died after jumping from a helicopter and crashing into a mountain ridge only minutes from the French border in Martigny, Switzerland. And James Bond's favorite triple is Martini, shaken, not stirred. Thought that was quite interesting. They make this stuff up, literally. Now, if you remember the movie Skyfall, starring James Bond, it opened October 23rd, 2012, after the Olympics. The film's release coincided with the 50th anniversary of the Bond series. A lot of 50th anniversaries this year, but a lot of 50th anniversaries show up in these connecting the dots. So it's the 50th. So this film release is coincided with the 50th anniversary of Bond's series, which began with Dr. No in 1962. And apparently, as of May 23rd, 2013, it is the 8th highest grossing film of all time, the highest grossing film in the UK, the highest grossing film in the Bond series, and the highest grossing film worldwide for both Sony Pictures and MGM, and the second highest grossing film of 2012. If you remember from my blog post referring to the scene in 2012 Summer Olympics and my sharing on the possible occult meaning of this scene with James Bond and the Queen, I was interested that the reference of the Aurora massacre, or Aurora, and The Dark Knight Rises was in the movie. And in my blog post I show a picture of Aurora, the caption of Aurora. Again, just connecting some more dots here and there from the original post. So my original post was Olympic Symbolism, 2012 highlights, James Bond equals connection to Aurora shooting, Saturn, Star Child, and the Ring of Fire. And you can get the link to that original post, if you haven't read it, that I posted last year in the post of this blog, this post that I'm reading to you right now in the description. So remember, we are living through the power control force's dream or script. The more we can expose the agenda by decoding the script or scripts at play, it enables us to pierce the veil of deception, see the dream for what it is, an artificial imposed illusion on the masses, to facilitate an agenda to gain complete control of your essence as unique awareness. By exposing the dream/script being perpetrated on humanity allows us to relinquish any control the dream or script may have upon us, allowing each of us to create a reality of our own choosing instead of the reality that is being deceivingly spoon-fed to us. Exposing the dream and script and decoding the matrix allows the dream and the script. This all allows all the dream and script to restore balance and to dissolve the dream so that it no longer has any relevance to who and what we are as unique awareness, thus allowing the third dimensional dream reality to cease to exist. And you might say, well, wow, if it ceases to exist, what will become of this reality? Well, while restoring confidence in each of us, first of all, we will be in the capacity to create a dream or script that is more in alignment with our essence as unique awareness. So I want to leave that with you. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I wanted to share this podcast with you, and also keep in mind that one of the things that I'm noticing in the past few days is that things are really intensifying in Egypt and Syria. And I'm going to do a post on that as well. But the Arab Spring, this Egypt, Syria scenario is really getting intense, brutally intense. And one of the things that I'm noticing is that individuals are being detained, starting to be detained. So things are intensifying, detained, unlawfully detained. Over 1,000 people were unlawfully detained in Egypt alone. One, a British journalist partner was stopped in England, and detained for 9 hours for no reason, unlawfully. So remember, I've been talking about the NDAA. So things are shifting, and most likely, because things are going to be escalating, this is just another part of the plan that's playing out. So we're just watching and waiting and seeing what's coming up. There's probably some more things that are going to be happening very shortly. And so all we can do is decode the matrix, connect the dots, and detach from the reality, or this reality that's being spoon-fed to us, because the opportunity for us to create a reality that's more in alignment with the truth of who we are as unique awareness is more accessible, more available than ever before. So thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.